school audio fans. What are we going to talk about today? Well, how about some old school cheater amps? As you can see here, we have an Orion 225 HCCA. We have a Precision Power Pro Mos 25. We have a Phoenix Gold MPS-2240. And we have the Rockford Fosgate Punch 45 HD. Okay, now I'll give you a brief tour of each amplifier and talk about its specifications and why it's called a cheater amp. So here we go. Okay, first up on the cheater amps, old school cheater amps, we'll talk about the Rockford Fosgate Punch 45 HD. Now you've probably seen my other videos about this amplifier, seen it in action. If not, please watch them. But let me give you a brief overview here of the amplifier itself. Turn it around so you can see. We have RCA inputs, we have treble and bass controls, and we have a Molex plug, 6-pin, for the speaker outputs. On this side, we just have the ground and 12 volt plus connections. Now, why do we consider this a cheater amp? Well, first off, let's flip it over. Look at the ratings. It is rated at 22.5 watts RMS into 4 ohms. Now, this amplifier puts out easily 50 watts per channel into 4 ohms. So why did Rockford underrate these amps? Well, these amplifiers were designed to be used in low wattage classes. So it kind of gave them an advantage. That's why they're called cheater amps, because it put out a lot more power than it was rated. So I'll flash up the full ratings now for the amp on the screen so you can see that. Unlike the other amplifiers I'm going to show you today, the Rockford Fosgate Punch 45 HD was not rated to handle 1 ohm or 1/2 ohm loads. It was rated at 2 ohms. Now, that being said, I'm sure many people, as did I, and still do when I use them, run them at 1 ohm without any problems at all. Probably maximum output even at 1 ohm with these amps is somewhere between 200 and 250 watts total. Not bad for a 45 watt amplifier. And next on the old school cheater amps, we have the Orion 225 HCCA high current competition amplifier. This particular model is a digital reference, which I believe is the 2nd generation Orion HCCA amps. The 1st generation was known as the Moon versions, which had a different logo on there. As you can see, here we have RCAs. We have a input DIN plug for Orion devices. We have gain control, and we have EQ and mono. Now the EQ, I'll put up on the screen exactly what that does. As with many amplifiers made in the 1990s, including many of these cheater amps, the manufacturers use these Molex plugs. Let me pull this one off so you can see, which plugs into the amp. Now, I am not a big fan of these at all. I don't think anybody is really, because these plugs get lost. It's real difficult to find replacements, and we much prefer the terminal strips. But anyway, here's the power and ground, and these are, it's a turn-on wire, and there's all the speaker outputs. So There's the Orion 225 HCCA. This amplifier is rated to handle 1 ohm mono or 1/2 ohm stereo loads, and it's said to put out 400 watts rated. Actual outputs are probably 500 or maybe a little bit more than 500 watts. So this is a beast of a little amplifier. And next on the old school cheater amp review here, we have the Precision Power Pro Mos 25. Again, rated at 25 watts RMS per channel into 4 ohms. And I'll give you the full ratings up on the screen now so you can see. This amplifier is rated to handle 1 ohm stereo loads or 2 ohm mono loads. And it's said to put out 200 watts total with either one of those. Actual ratings, not really sure. Never seen the actual output ratings on these. This one does not appear to be quite as powerful as the Orion, but it is very clean power. So let's look here at the inputs. We have the preamp input. There again, a DIN connection from an PPI preamp or EQ. And we have the good old standard RCA jacks. And not a whole lot else going on this side. There's a gain control which controls both left and right. Coming around to the opposite side, we have one of my favorite things here. Not a speaker Molex plug. Maybe not Molex, but it is a plug that we have to use for the outputs. I actually had to buy this on a remanufacture when it was not cheap, my friends. So you can see here we've got the power and the ground coming directly out of the amp. Again, no terminal strips. Too bad. So there you have the PPI Pro Mos 25. Okay, and last up on the old school cheater amps, we have the Phoenix Gold MPS-2240. MPS stands for Mobile Professional Series. 2240 is 2 times 24 watts is what the amplifier is rated at. Now, unlike the other amplifiers I've shown you, Phoenix Gold had terminal connections. Thank you, Phoenix Gold. You can see those are the speaker outputs. There's a switch for float or common for the ground, stereo bridged for the output, which really all that does is turns off the right input jack for the RCA, so you really don't ever need to switch that unless you're just using one input. We have gain and bass control. Those are worn down a little on this particular amp, so you can't really see them that well. We have master and slave, so you could daisy chain these amplifiers together. And there we have the battery connections and the remote turn on. Let's walk around and see the other side. It's just the logo. But what makes this amp really special? Let's see if we can do this without making too much of a mess. Wow, isn't that a thing of beauty? Yes, gold plated, my friends. Gold plated circuit board, high quality components. These amplifiers are gorgeous and they sound as good as they look too. And as with the Orion 225 HCCA, the Phoenix Gold MPS-2240 was rated to handle 1 ohm mono or 1/2 ohm stereo loads, putting out in excess of 400 watts. Realistically, 500, 550 maybe total. Again, I've never seen a burst sheet on these, so I'm not sure. Maybe somebody knows. But these amps are extremely clean, very powerful, nice quality amplifiers. And as I'm showing you the guts here of the amplifier, I will put up the full specs so you can see the details. Okay folks, that's going to do it for the overview on the old school cheater amps. Stay tuned for upcoming tests of these awesome amplifiers and see how they perform in real life with bass and sound quality. Stay tuned for Big D's audio coming soon. Thanks for watching. See ya.